Holy cow, did that hurt my gut? It must be working.
In recent years, there's been a lot of talk about the gut microbiome. So some of us might be wondering, what is carnivore going to do to our guts? I'm JJ. I'm a life coach and I eat mostly meat.
I'm Eric. I'm a novelist and I eat mostly meat.
And today it's all about carnivore and gut health.
I like this topic.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question.
Okay.
When did you start being concerned about your gut health? Or have you ever been concerned?
Well, I had a lot of distress starting in my 30s. But I thought it was just being 30.
Being 30?
Yeah. Because I started getting reflux way back then. Remember when I used to take Pepsid all the time after eating at Chi-Chi's? If you remember Chi-Chi's, the restaurant.
Oh,
comment.
Please, yes. I do miss Chi-Chi's a bit. I do miss it.
Well, we would never go there now.
No, we wouldn't go there
No.
anymore. Dang. And Al, the waiter, he was amazing.
Did you have gut problems?
I did not have gut problems. As a matter of fact, me and my grandma used to be going, we never have gut issues. Our stomachs are fine. And then what happened is I had a huge issue with fatigue, low energy, depression, etc. And guess what? It was a gluten issue, all linked to my gut. So even though I didn't have traditional gut issues, it suddenly became a big part of my world when I was turned 40.
Yeah, and you cut out gluten, and how did I receive that?
You were skeptical.
That's to put it mildly.
you were skeptical, and you told me that, and you told me. Yet you are also supportive. You didn't.
Yeah, I didn't dismiss it. I just dismissed the concept.
Yeah. And then you became one of the
same as dismissing it.
But you're right. You dismissed the concept, but you didn't dismiss my efforts.
No, I did not dismiss your efforts because if it was important to you,
Yeah.
it's important to me.
Yeah. So you became one of my biggest proponents, though, where you were the one who would find out if I accidentally had consumed gluten. You would notice it before I did.
So this is a marriage tip.
Go ahead.
Hopefully your spouse finds they have some sort of food intolerance, because then when they're misbehaving, you can say, maybe you were glutened by mistake.
When they're misbehaving. Oh, geez. So let me just say, we're going to talk about gut health today, and this is based on carnivore claims and our own experiences. So we'll probably say this several times. We are not doctors or health professionals of any kind.
Don't play one on TV.
We don't play one on TV. So, we're just having a discussion.
You can totally ignore us.
You can totally.
And you'd be the same education as before you started.
So let's talk about some of the benefits that are claims of the carnivore diet. Number one, reducing common food triggers, especially those that cause some sort of inflammation. So this could be grains like gluten. It could be legumes. It could be nuts. Those are some common things people have issues with. But what we've discovered is there are other plants that contain substances that cause inflammation and issues.
Yeah. Basically, all of them.
Basically, yeah. Now, what's interesting to me with this, too, is I remember when you started eating salad for lunch. Now, your history was you hated salad.
Yeah, that's true. Hated salad. Forced myself to start eating it because I wanted all those healthy leafy greens in my diet. And I would top that with chicken breast, nuts. I'd put some shredded beets on there, a little shredded up radicchio, all kinds of stuff to try to make it a little bit of shredded carrots. It was full of superfoods and phytonutrients.
I love salad and always have. So seemed like a good idea. And then this wasn't a good part in our marriage. At some point, I suggested to you that maybe I'd noticed you were having more gut issues since the introduction of your salad.
Did I respond to that in any way?
You did not respond favorably. Now, you didn't rail didn't rail against me or anything, but you just gave me the look.
Maybe it was because I couldn't believe that leafy greens and all those healthy things could possibly hurt my gut.
Yeah.
Because I continued to eat it, right?
You ate it for years.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, getting rid of it was great. Great. It helped my gut a lot.
So another potential benefit, speaking of that sort of thing, is that carnivore claims say that it simplifies your digestion. Basically, you remove those fiber-rich plant foods and it becomes easier to digest. And this is especially helpful for people who have those traditional digestive issues that I didn't ever have really, but IBS or Crohn's disease or things like that.
When I was 45, I ended up being referred to a gastroenterologist. Is that the right word?
I think so.
For gut. I had gut pains that were kind of perplexing to me. And he took my history and listened to me, and he said, IBS, we could do a colonoscopy just to be on the safe side. And I'm like, yeah, I want to be certain that it's not something. And it was totally clear. And he prescribed me some pills that were supposed to help with the IBS pains, and it didn't really. And I stopped taking them right away. But he never said, change your diet. He didn't ask me about my diet even once.
I'm sure if you told him you were eating your big salads and things, he would probably...
Yeah, he'd be like, yeah, great fiber.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, the fascinating thing to me is the anthropology side of this, is the idea that gorillas and chimps and stuff have these big distended bellies full of large intestines designed to break down fiber that's, in all these plants that they eat so they can derive the nutrition they need from them. But that humans have a much reduced size large intestine. And the theory is that we relied more on meat in the pre-agricultural times, and therefore we didn't need that gut. And so now that when we put all of that fiber in there, our gut's like, I don't know what you're doing, but this is not what I was designed for.
I can't handle this. I can't handle it.
I had some very interesting phenomenon in those years when I was drinking my extremely healthy green smoothies. I would post to Facebook, back when I was on Facebook, my 1 quart ball jar full of green smoothie and show what I'm about to drink, this nasty kale shake. Holy cow, did that hurt my gut. It must be working.
No, I didn't make any connection with that one. I didn't make any connection with that one.
No pain, no gain.
No pain, no gain. I couldn't tolerate the kale. I eventually tolerated spinach in my smoothies, but oh my gosh, kale, I just could not do. No.
And even in keto, I would eat my big salad. And because I'd put a quarter cup or half cup of olive oil with vinegar with it. And so I would get all of that rancid oil along with it. Hopefully it wasn't rancid.
Hopefully not. We tried to buy good.
We tried to source good olive oil.
Yeah.
And so I would stay in ketosis, but I remember being months into keto going, why does my stomach bloated today? I don't understand. That's supposed to go away.
Yeah. Yeah. And oh my gosh. I hope I'm not going to embarrass you saying this. He would show me his stomach sometimes. He seriously looked very pregnant, and I was like, no, you're doing that. You're pushing it out. He's like, no, I am not pushing out. It was that distended.
Yeah, there was definitely times, especially after pizza, where it would just
inflate like crazy. Well, and Ezekiel bread way back in the day, before my gluten-free days.
Ezekiel bread is like sprouted grain or something that's supposed to be really good for you. It was not good for my innards.
That was wild.
It was I might as well just eat a scrub daddy.
Oh my God. So I want to talk about my gut past again, going back to the gluten intolerance. Do you remember? So my gluten intolerance was diagnosed by a naturopath, which at the time was one of the reasons you were skeptical. And it included getting rid of gluten. I did all the tests around gluten except for the biopsy, because by that time I kept having to eat gluten for months to do all the testing, and I was just done. I needed to be done with the gluten, and so I never got the biopsy. But do you remember that I had about a year of healing after that, where I was on all the restricted diet and all these different cleanses and all this stuff?
Yeah, I remember you doing wackadoo stuff.
Yep. Yeah. How about the garlic one? Do you remember that?
The garlic was a problem.
But a lot of this was in an effort to really heal other issues like candida and so forth, but especially heal my leaky gut. So one of the claims of carnivore is that it aids in gut repair, that you're having a lot of protein and that contains those amino acids like L-glutamine that really do help repair the gut lining. Incidentally, if you're a butter eater, not all carnivores are, that also contains butyric acid, which is supposed to help really nourish the gut.
I remember David Asprey saying that half a decade or more ago. And so I immediately dismissed it. I mean, he's fine, but I just...
You're a skeptic.
It is the bane of everybody's existence around me, is that not only am I a skeptic, I want to believe. So I'm torn between these two sides.
So that is one of the theories. Now, what's interesting to me, though, is that just like you said with your salad and the IBS, and like I'm saying with my gluten issues, possible celiac, we were never advised at those times to just cut out plants. It was
who would
eat meat.
I mean, that would have been crazy for anybody to say.
Yeah.
And we would have disregarded it just out of hand.
Yeah. Now, I haven't inspected my gut since I started carnivore.
I've never inspected my gut.
I guess I haven't either. So, I can't say whether this claim is true or not. I don't know. We seem to be doing pretty well as far as our guts go.
As long as I stay on plan.
Yeah.
Things are good.
Yeah. And this is called part of the proper human diet spectrum. So in addition to the biology lesson you gave us about primates, which I love because it was like mind-blowing to me when I learned that, it just makes sense that we shouldn't go around having our diet contribute to us being really inflamed and all that brain fog and digestive issues. It just seems like it's not really a great system if you're out in the wild hunting and gathering and doing things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, as the king of nuance, I exhaust myself with my insistence on nuance.
Yeah.
So the question that comes to my mind is, do I follow the Dr. Anthony Chaffee, plants are trying to kill you, and just say that's 100% true, people just shouldn't even eat them under any circumstances? Or is it that the years and years and years and years of eating Kraft mac and cheese and Pop-Tarts and Big Macs and all of the processed crap made me susceptible to the toxins that are in these vegetables that would otherwise be well tolerated if I hadn't destroyed my intestines for decades? And that's a question I don't know the answer to.
Yeah. Yeah, you actually said that to our daughter at one point.
Did I?
We weren't talking about gut issues, but metabolically, that you feel like you have to restrict a lot now based on your history.
I did say that.
Yeah.
That was not well received.
No, but a seed may be planted. Who knows?
Who knows? So anyway, that's the nuance. I wanna make sure that we're not throwing out the broccoli with the broccoli water. I think you'd be better off just not having either of those.
Well, you know how
just for quality of life. Why would you eat broccoli?
How I feel about broccoli. I tried so hard to eat it. And I would sometimes. Sometimes I could get it down, but other times I had to do the spit it in the napkin trick. If you hadn't destroyed your gut earlier, and me too, We could probably tolerate a lot more. Yet I still don't think that we should be eating most of our diet as plant. I really don't think so. I don't think so.
Even as a kid, apples messed with my digestion.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
I just ignored it because I liked apples. And I really like apples with peanut butter on them. And even more, I like those ones around Halloween or Thanksgiving. Caramel apples.
We did one last year.
And there's a place around here that has giant, really sweet apples that dunk it in like a thick, centimeter thick coating of caramel and chocolate, and they stick M&Ms to the outside. It's a disaster for your health.
Well, but I personally, still want to be able to do that.
Once a year.
Once a year. To have the health, the buffer that I can once a year have that special apple treat. What we want to say is everyone is different, obviously. And even though these claims sound great, and we've experienced many of these benefits without looking at our guts, you have to do your own research and your own experiments with your diet and see what affects you. And quite frankly, research on the gut microbiome is still pretty new. It's in its infancy. And research on the carnivore diet, well, we know there isn't a lot of pure research. There is some on keto, quite a bit on keto, but carnivore is still sort of a new field of research, possibly. So do your own research and, be your own experiment. So because of Nuance, let's talk about some of the concerns that people have with the carnivore diet as well. We don't want to just give you the benefits.
Yeah.
So one of the big concerns you'll hear if you are doing the carnivore diet is, what about fiber? You're going to be deficient in fiber. Yeah.
And as a result, you will be plugged up.
And as a And as a result, you'll be plugged up.
And that is not the case.
Well, long-term carnivores have reported that they have had no issues with their digestion, with their system, with their evacuation. And, personally, I have to say, I don't have any issue with anything in the bathroom.
Yeah, it makes it very easy.
It actually, So talk about simplified digestion. Makes it a lot easier.
And the reason is that not much gets to your large intestine.
Yeah.
Because you're not sending all that fiber down the chute. You don't have to deal with it.
And animal products are so nutrient dense, there isn't much waste.
Yeah, we use all that protein and fat.
We absorb it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
another concern.
So frequency would go down.
Yes, frequency goes down, which is nice, I think.
Yeah.
I like it, but yeah. So another concern is microbiome diversity. That eating just this type of diet, a limited diet, is going to limit your different bacteria strains in your gut. Again, this is in its infancy, microbiome research. However, microbiome diversity is been linked to, in research, to more gut resilience. I don't know exactly what that means. Maybe ability to eat everything, maybe. Better mental health and better immune function. I've been doing the carnivore diet for about almost a year and a half. I've not noticed any decrease in my immunity or mental health. My mental health seems pretty good. And my immunity seems at least as good as it's always been, if not better. But again, it's not a real long-term thing for me yet. And Dr. Eid, she's a psychiatrist, and other psychiatrists, there's that other book.
Chris Palmer. Brain Energy.
Who have suggested that it might be better for mental health. So, I don't know. The verdict is out on that.
Well, the diet's certainly better for mental health.
Yeah.
The connection with the microbiome is maybe not that as well supported, but maybe it's true.
Yeah, we don't know. But those are probably two of the biggest concerns regarding the gut and eating mostly meat or all meat. And again, there are many people out there who have been doing it for decades who seem to be doing okay.
Yeah.
but they're their own N of 1. So who knows? Another thing you might hear if you've been exploring the carnivore diet, or maybe if you're on the diet and you've experienced this yourself, there is a transitioning phase for many people who start eliminating plants and go directly to the meat, especially if you do that in a short length of time. There can be some gut effects if you transition to carnivore. So one of them we like to call involuntary cleansing. Now, I already reported I have my guts, even though they were leaky at one point, they're pretty, as far as digestion goes, they're workhorses. I don't have a lot of issues. So I did not experience the involuntary cleanse.
Yeah, well, this euphemism in our house came from a history of having done gallbladder cleanses or liver cleanses. And those you have to stay pretty close to the bathroom when that starts to kick in. And so when I transitioned to carnivore, I was on a long walk with the dogs at the back of the property.
Oh.
And I was like, uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
And that was the first of my quite of a transition period of some weeks of having occasional involuntary cleanses that were sort of like one-offs. It's like all of a sudden it's like some extreme urgency, flush out and then continue. And I thought I was drinking maybe too much salt or too many electrolytes, but it turns out I can handle a lot of them and there's no issue. It was just a transition phase.
I know Dr. Berry says it should only last about a week or two, but yours lasted longer.
Yeah, it was. I didn't really keep track of it that closely.
It was longer. The reasoning is, again, around that microbiome diversity, is that you're actually starving off some of the plant-loving bacteria.
Sugar-loving.
And sugar-loving bacteria.
Pasta-loving.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's part of the transition. Now, we already touched on one of the other transitioning effects. People get concerned about constipation when they transition to carnivore because all of a sudden you're going a lot less.
Yeah.
A lot less. Now, I'm just going to go by what Dr. Berry says here. This is not true constipation. It's just, again, the animal products produce less waste and they don't contain that fiber. So unless you're straining and having issues going, that is true constipation. Just less frequency is not.
And he's got a video, if that ends up being the case, where you're like, no, this is definitely constipation, then it's probably magnesium that you need to supplement with. And
that's true. I forgot about that.
That will resolve that.
Yeah.
Maybe very urgently if you overdo it.
Another cleanse.
Yeah.
That's what we would take to get our
Epsom
liver,
salts.
our liver and gallbladder cleanses.
I would never do that again, no.
Oh my goodness. I did it right before I transitioned to carnivore. I did one because, as I've mentioned, I was having some inflammation and stuff. So I actually resorted to that to try it. But anyway.
I because I'm a skeptic, I just don't even believe they're valuable, but what do I know? Some people benefit from it somehow.
I don't know either. So another thing you might notice as you transition to carnivore is that there's less gas. Without that fiber and plant matter.
I come from a long line of extraordinary gassy people on my dad's side.
Yeah.
He was...
like your dad.
He was not shy about his gas either. He shared it with everybody loudly and proudly.
Not when he was in business meetings or anything.
Maybe not business meetings,
no.
But you brought your girlfriend over. All bets were off. He'd let fly.
Oh, and another thing you might notice transitioning, another gut effect, is a flatter abdomen.
Yeah. Because the bloat goes.
The bloat goes away. You were talking about being on keto and having that bloat.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. Within a few days, the bloat goes away, the carb bloat. And even now, like when we have the caramel apple or whatever, I'll get a little bit of a bloat again.
Yeah.
A little bit.
There's just a general sense of emptiness.
Yeah.
Gut emptiness, which is really novel because you grow up having your whole life being full of Pop-Tarts and all kinds of nasty inflammatory foods, and you don't even realize how the gut's supposed to feel. until you feel it and you're like, oh, wow, it feels so good.
It's so much better. So, and when he says empty, it's not like you're hungry.
No.
Or bottomless, but it just,
There's like the lower gut. There's like there's not this heaviness and fullness and weight. It just vanishes.
So those are some of the potential benefits and some of the potential concerns with carnivore and gut health. Again, though, we are just giving you our experiences and the experiences we've heard from other carnivores. We are not health professionals at all.
We're just randos on the internet.
Just randos. So we would love it if you'd like, subscribe, or leave a comment.
Yeah.
So what would we like to hear?
We want TMI about this topic.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. What have you noticed around your gut health if you've transitioned to carnivore, or if you're going to transition to carnivore? What are you hoping for?
Yep.
Yeah. What are you hoping to see? So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.
Bye-bye.